I am playing the WiseGuys Freeroll daily tournament, 9 PM UK time, every day, every night. And basically, the WiseGuy, this is the cash free roll, and to qualify for this one, you need to have made any profit on the WiseGuys cash leaderboard, so it's 1 cent enough, and made 500 redbacks in a 24-hour period the day before the tournament. So, for example, this one will have been 500 redbacks only in cash games between midnight on Tuesday and midnight last night, basically. So here we are. I should have checked how many players there are, but I didn't. Well, that's a good start. Queens. Now I am going to check how many players, because it's quite important to know what you're up against, because there are only 3 prizes, unfortunately, and 19 players. Okay, right, 19 players, 3 prizes. Yeah, 50, 30, 20. So I'll just play it nice and quietly, I think. Which is probably lucky for me if my opponent's got an ace. I'm probably going to fold anyway to a Bex. I'm trying to be a little bit constant. Well, not 30, that's not enough. Which isn't to say I don't believe that he has an ace necessarily. So now it's getting interesting on the first hand, and I need to think about this one. So with 19 players, some of these players won't even have turned up, I guess. I'll call anyway, and then I'll just have to batten down the hatches if... it's tempting to bluff this one. But I won't. Fair enough. So yes, what happens in this tournament is that everybody who's qualified, they're pre-registered. They're registered automatically, basically. Some players won't be logged on at all. They won't be playing. So what happens is after the first level, those players are eliminated, and players who are logged on to 32 red and haven't yet participated, made a bet or anything like that, they'll remain in the tournament, because at any point they can just start playing. So theoretically, you could be logged on to 32 red, not actually log on to the not tune into the tournament and open a table and play, but because you're there anyway, there's a chance that you could finish in the top 3, which with 19 players is unlikely. But it does seem here that I missed an opportunity to just generate quite a few chips, because the only 2 people at the table who are actually present seem to be myself and the player that I kept calling against with my queens. But it was the first hand, so there you go. So while I can, I'll just keep raising a little bit and hope that Jose Mentecho is happy to be very solid and just keep folding and basically not play against me. It was a bit cheeky of me to do that. A bit cheeky of me to do that on his big blind, but there you go. So all the chips I've lost, I seem to have got back, which is nice. So at least 4 players here will be eliminated, I'm guessing. Or if not eliminated, they're not playing, but we'll see. So there's another 3 minutes, is it 2 minutes? I can't see, of this level. And Jose's being very accommodating, because he's just letting me just hoover up all these chips. In fact, is he there still? I don't really understand what's happening now, but I don't really mind, because I'll just keep betting. And then within 2 minutes we'll be on level 2, and we'll be on a new table, which which will be with whoever's left, I guess, unless there are 2 tables worth. But this just shows, even though there are 19 players, if you manage to just eke out, say you played just 2 or 3 hours a day or something, or maybe not even that, if you play 1 or 2 tables, and any profit playing cash, you just look at the WiseGuys leaderboard on 32 Red, and it gives you the latest, basically the latest places. So any profit, 500 red backs, and you're in this tournament. And if you can do that a few times a week, it all adds up, all adds to the bankroll. If you can manage to win something in the tournament, and even if you don't, it's good practice at least. Also, I should point out that the WiseGuys leaderboard itself has cash prizes for the top 3 finishers, the top 3 earners, so to speak, of that day. So that's another incentive to play. So meanwhile, I'm just clicking on bet here, or raise, and everybody's folding. It's a pity this level has only got another minute left. And it's a pity I lost about 150, was it? Something like that. But Queens in the first hand, it would be a little bit a bit too extreme in terms of being conservative if you wanted to try and keep your powder dry by not getting involved at all with Queens. So, but as anybody who's been watching my videos will know, I always quote, I hope it's TJ Cloutier, but I could be wrong because it's a long time ago, that it pays to look at Queens as a small pair, basically, so that you don't get too involved. So we're going to come to an end of this level very soon, and I guess I'll find myself on a table with someone who's got more chips than I've got. Yeah, so we're just coming to the end of this. This hand's the end of this level. Where are we? So, as I always say, if you follow me, but you're doing it in secret and not actually clicking on the follow button so you become an official follower, then well, you're sort of going to miss out at some point, because we're going to be having different tournaments and more events. There's going to be a team of 32 red players. I'm just one of them, and we'll have events, and it pays to actually follow players. So congratulations on the final table. So that, in other words, there are only 8 players remaining from the 19. And someone here must have doubled up straight away, I guess, to be on 3,000 and a bit. So yes, it pays to follow it. But other than that, follow me on Twitter, because when we have tournaments that are password only, even though the free rolls you'll need a password. There was one last night with my friend Fabienne, and she was the 32 red player. And in fact, I think she was playing four free rolls all at the same time. And they're all bound. There's a bounty on her for each of the tournaments. And I think anybody who knocked her out once gets a certain prize. If you manage to knock her out 2 tournaments, a bigger prize, and so on. And that's password necessary. And what happens is we'll put the password out hours before the tournament starts, rather than a few minutes before. So what happens sometimes is that we start a tournament at, say, 8 o'clock, and people coming on asking in the chat what the password is, and it's not convenient for anybody, that, especially you, because I know what the password is. So I recommend that you follow me on Twitter. That's Angus Dunnington, I think. It's written on the scrolly bar thing is there, and Facebook, Angus.Dunnington, I'm guessing, and of course on Twitch. And we're also going to be doing a lot more things, and ultimately you'll have to be following, and because we're going to make this quite a worthwhile venture for people who want to learn a lot about poker and get as much as they can, goodies wise, and free rolls and special tournaments of 32 red. And part of my personal crusade is to bring chess players and poker players together. Chess players to play poker and poker players to play chess. And we're doing quite well with that already. So I'm playing on chess 24. In fact, if I get knocked out of this tournament very early, I might well play on chess 24. I recommend this. You can, if you scroll down on my channel page, then you'll see that there's a special offer if you join and become a member, even if it's just for 1 month. Chess 24, and we're going to have. Because in my other life, I still am an international master. Used to play full-time chess, and we're going to have blitz challenges on Twitch, and also heads-up poker challenges. And anybody who can play both poker and chess, join Chess 24. Click on the banner and join 32 Red, and we'll have a chess and poker challenge, maybe at the same time. If anybody's seen chess boxing, they play a few minutes of blitz chess, get into the ring, and then box, and then back to blitz chess. But this would be playing poker and a game of blitz exactly at the same time. We could try that. I've tried playing poker and blitz chess at the same time. It's hard, but it's less of a problem if your opponent's got the same distraction. So we're going to do that. So click on the banners, join 32 Red, and join Chess 24. Not just to play me, but if you join now, for example, you'll be able to watch the Grand Chess Tour. There's all these different things, live commentaries, videos, tutorials, all for the price of a small buy-in poker tournament for poker players who are thinking of playing chess. And I'm trying to tap into those chess players who are at least curious about playing poker. But quite a lot of my chess playing friends either play poker or want to play. Right, so I've managed to get to 2100 chips without really doing anything. And the only big pot I got involved, well, the only sizable pot I got involved with, I lost. So we're doing okay so far. Clearly we're not going to call them all in with Jack Queen. Whether it's suited or not, it wasn't, but we're not going to be doing that. And my strategy for anybody who's been following me these things is to basically just sort of bob and weave, be solid, slightly aggressive, but not take too many risks. And that's done me quite well in the last sort of 5 sit and go WiseGuys Freerolls, which are every Monday night. And that's the same. Any profit playing sit and go, and 500 redbacks from playing sit and go, then you qualify for the WiseGuys Freeroll sit and go weekly. And I think in the last 5, I've only not made the top 3 once. So Duck Revenger is telling us that he's going to fold pocket jacks. Well, he's telling us that he's got pocket jacks. Oh, he was guessing his opponent's got pocket jacks, which is a brilliant guess because that's exactly what he's got. Unfortunately, he lost. That was a brilliant guess. Almost deserved to win just by the guess alone. Where was I? WiseGuys, for the last 5, at least 5, I've only not made the prize money once, and I've basically in most of the time I've been not in this situation that I'm in now, where I'm 3rd or 4th. 3rd, I've been sort of 8th of 8, 7th of 7, 6th of, like that, and just basically biding my time and only playing premium hands all in, but bluffing with lesser hands. Waiting for people to do what just happened there and just keep going all in against each other, and eventually the field thins down and then you're in with a shout of the prize money. In fact, the only one that I didn't make the top 3, I was 4th and I was all in with ace king against 5s, I think, and didn't catch anything. So if you've not yet joined 32 Red, then click on one of the banners. If you can't be bothered to scroll down and click, then I'm going to cater to lazy people. Hello, Blazhosk, and I'm going to stick a link in here. Any problems, let me know. If it asks for a referrer, then that will be AngusD, and we'll make sure that you get proper goodies. It's not just free rolls and freebies. There are other things that we can give our loyal followers at 32 red. So we would have had 2 pair, but of course we're never going to get involved with 10-4 in any kind of situation, or at least not this. So again, we've got 2 players battling out against each other, but one of them has got a lot more chips, so he or she has a lot less to risk. So you'd assume that 600 or so chips from this player, you'd expect there to be some kind of hand, or you'd hope on their behalf that there's some kind of hand. And now that's a difficult one. If that player, for example, has ace 10 or a pair of 9s, yeah, that was quite a difficult decision. Well, that's poker, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but that's what makes it so fascinating. So any poker players who don't follow chess but know who the top players might be, for example, quite a few people will have heard of Magnus Carlsen, the Norwegian world champion, who's well, for a while was head and shoulders above everyone else in terms of the ranking, FIDE rating list. He hit the news recently, as in the non-chess news, because he won a Blitz tournament in Paris, and so he won it against the world's elite in the Grand Chess Tour. We're not going to call that with a pair of 9s. And my old friend Maurice Ashley, an American Grandmaster, was doing an interview, and he said something like, "Well done, Magnus. You're the best player in the world. You're the world champion, and you won again." It wasn't such a smooth ride, was it? Which to me, I think he meant to say, it wasn't a smooth ride, but you won again, as in a compliment. And Carlsen took it really badly and suggested that he was being belittled because he wasn't winning very easily all the time. Which he had a point if that was what he thought was being suggested, but I don't think it was. But that sort of made chess. It was twittering all over the place for a while, for a couple of days. So any poker players who saw that might think that chess players are a little bit tetchy, perhaps. And I guess they are in some ways, but it's quite similar to poker in that respect. And my opinion is that Morris didn't really mean anything at all. But he has to ask questions. So Queen 9, we're down to 19,900, well, we're down to 2,000. And we'll call that, well, check that. We're not going to put any more in with that one. Pair of queens, but we've got a player here who's happy to limp, who's happy to put some chips in the pot voluntarily. And we're going to believe him. Out of position, quite a coordinated board. Not for us, it wasn't really. We had a pair, but it was a second pair. So I didn't quite like that one too much. Jack King. It's worth a stab just trying to pick up some chips. Got 90 chips in the pot before anybody bets. Obviously some of those are mine because I was a small blind, but I was happy to bet out of position with King, to raise with King Jack. Is it a bit greedy here to just try and steal? Probably yes. 7-2, the worst hand there is. Although 7-2 suited can't be that bad, can it? Well, probably, but again, we're not going to find out. Six, 4 suited. I've not raised for about 4 or 5 hands, so I'll try now. This is just one of those. Every now and then you can play a speculative hand. If you hit big, then it's very well disguised, and you could well just double up, which in this kind of situation could be quite damaging to your opponents. And of course, if you completely miss like we have there, then it's an easy hand to get away from as well. Although here I am tempted to bet here. I was the pre-flop raiser. It's almost expected of me to make a continuation bet. Or at least it wouldn't be a surprise were I to do that. I don't like the idea that this player called my raise pre-flop and has position on me also. A little bit of a bite now I've got. But if I was guessing, I'd say I was behind someone, and I'll believe that bet. So that was my speculative try. So I'm going to avoid that now for a while. So we're down to 7 players, and I'm sort of third with this player. This player over here. That would have been a full house, but we're not calling with Jack 7 off. Carpet's here. Carpet catcher, which apparently, Carpet told me, is the old poker term for set, as in you have a pair and like a pair of threes and a flip, the 3 comes in the flop. That's a set of 3s, and it used to be called a carpet. So, carpet catcher, like set catcher. Right, here we've got a raise, an all-in, and an all-in raise, so that could be interesting. So ideally, we want this player to call, and this player to beat everybody, but both get ace-king, and then have both lost to my straight. But again, you can't call an all-in with 8-7. I'm not even sure I would have called an all-in had I been able to see the flop with the straight draw. Well, I am sure I wouldn't have called an all-in, 2 all-ins. So, what are we now? Nothing's really changed much there. They split the pot. He lost, she lost 175 chips. Fold 10-8. And anybody who's played cash games today and managed to make 29 raked hands, which is basically, if you're playing a cash game, whatever the limit, as soon as anybody makes a bet, a flop bet and post-flop bets, you're probably in the realms of a rake being collected there. So a raked hand takes no time. So 29 raked hands probably takes a few minutes. So if you manage that, then don't forget to enter the Route 29, I think it would be, flip to Manchester, because it's a flip tournament, starts at 10. And flip tournaments, everybody's all in, every hand automatically. So the software does that for you, the poker lobby, the poker room does that for you. Hang on a second. Yeah, anybody who has then made 29 raked hands, that's a requirement to register. So you register for this event. I think it's just called Route 29, flip to Manchester, and you just need 29 raked hands. And there are 57 registered, and the top 8. So basically, you register, and that's it. You don't even need to be. You could register and then log off. The top 8 finishers, in other words, the 8 survivors, when everybody's all in, every hand, this all-in fest. We've got the small pair. Win starting chips for a tournament on the 2nd of July or the 1st of July, I can't remember. But basically that's a tournament proper, and the winner of that one wins a €1,500 Market Gaming Poker Network Poker Tour package in Manchester, which, if we look at our little slideshow here with the fish party and whatever else I'm looking at, it's the 20th to 23rd of July. I should know because I'm going 20th to 23rd of July in Manchester. £150,000 guaranteed prize money for the main event. And you can win a package for that. So it's hotel, buy-in for another tournament, spending money. It's basically worth winning. To say it costs nothing, and all you need to do is, if you've been playing Hello Carpet, is just keep registering for these tournaments. There's not that many left because we're at the end of the month. But if you have been doing, then you only need 100 chips to get into the final. I think I've got to like 1,100, but there are people with a few thousand. But chip and a chair. So it's well worth doing because it's just potluck anyway. So you could easily, within tonight and tomorrow night, for example, accumulate enough starting chips. Right, I'm going to bet that once I started. Unfortunately, that's not worked, has it? So I've lost quite a bit of headway there, but yeah. I was hoping to sort of scare off just a little bit just by virtue of the fact that I'm betting, but that didn't work. But I'm still in a better position here than I have been just about every time I've made the top 3, which is a kiss of death, of course. But with 7 players left, the blinds are still reasonably low. Low might not be the right word, but they're not too high. So as long as you have enough chips to do some damage with, then that's all that counts, really. So ideally we want these 2 players to do some damage. Crocbite and Fit Girl. So from my point of view, the wrong player won that pot, which was for how many chips? 680. So we'd have preferred, in terms of my tournament position, that 680 to have gone to this player, and then this player would only be on 1400, which would still make me third, strangely enough, with only 1600. So Jessica's been quite active, and so we say, and it's an all-in against the raise here. So was Crocbite stealing? It looks like it, or at least playing with a hand that he now decides isn't worthy of calling an all-in. I have a feeling that Jose, who won that first pot against me, just isn't there anymore. But I don't know. So another pot that Overhere's getting involved with. Not for too long though. So Crocbite's playing very well, I think. So I'm slowing down a little bit, waiting until I at least get decent hands. I don't think it's worth taking the risk to try and steal when I've got 2 quite active players to my immediate left here. Maybe if I was here to their left, that would be different. But the way we're seated, I don't think it's a good strategy to try and mix it and bluff a little bit, because I'm getting called by these players. So at least wait until I have something decent. Right, this player's not afraid to go all in with anything, although it's good hands. 3 of them. So that's another player gone. So we're down to 6. So again, in an ideal world, I need someone to knock this player out. Will it happen now? No, and I won't be calling with 5-6. Queen 10 suited. I mean, it's sort of a decent hand, but I don't have a decent stack. Or at least I don't have a big enough stack to try and bully someone who's got 2,500 chips more than I've got. But I might put in a min raise, we'll see. Now I'm less tempted. That's made my mind up for me. Ace 4, not as good as it looks, and it doesn't look great. And I don't care that I'm on the button. I just don't want to be up against these two players. Not yet, anyway. Not unless I really have to. So I'm going to fold regardless. So the advantage of having a lot of chips here and here is that you can not raise every time, but you can raise often enough, knowing that most of the time your opponents will have missed a flop anyway, so you're going to pick up something anyway. Or did he raise pre-flop there? I don't know, but just trying with Jack 5. And if it doesn't work, you still got a big stack. And if you can get away with it often enough, then you accumulate enough chips to be able to afford to pay some back anyway, when it doesn't work or when it backfires. And that's one of the advantages of having a bigger stack. Now I don't have that at the moment, and probably won't have that for this tournament. But that doesn't mean that I can't make some kind of impact in my own way. So now the blinds are at 100, 200. We're getting to that point where I might have to start getting proactive. There's no point being afraid of losing, because then you'd never get involved in any pots. So I've got to face facts and accept that at the moment it looks like I'm not going to come in the top 3. Sorry about that. Well, if a pair of queens is a small pair, what's a pair of tens? I'll raise anyway, just to try and take the 150 chips. But if anybody re-raising a raise, call, I can cope with that. Now, I'd guess that if anybody has a pair, or at least an overpair, they would have bet. And I'd guess that nobody's going to, well, it would be unlucky to be up against an 8 here. I mean, this play could have an 8 maybe, but we'll see from what happens next what plays might or might not have. So I'm taking a bit of a risk, but I've still got 1,000 chips if I decide to step away from this. Now that's not good for me. And really, in order for me to try and win this, I might have to put some more chips in. And I don't want to do that, but I have a feeling that if I check, that will be seen as a sign of weakness. So I need to make it look like I'm trying to eke out some chips. Now that's an excellent card. Now I'm only losing to a pair of kings, as in pocket pair of kings, which would be kings over 8s. Or an 8, and if that's an 8, well, that's just life, isn't it? But now I'm hoping that my opponent does have something like king queen or ace king or something. In which case he would have 8s over kings, whereas I've got 10s over 8s. So the question is, assuming I'm going to win this, if I'm not, then there we go. I'll play blitz for half an hour maybe, I don't know, but whatever. Don't want to think like that. But if I'm winning, how do I get more chips out of this? So that 1,600, even if I bet all in, it's only half the pot. So my opponent would have to put 800 chips in, or risk 800 chips to get a pot for 2,400. So let's do that and hope he's got a king basically, or a pair of queens or jacks or aces, or I don't know. We'll see. If it's an 8, then that's just tough. So it's a king. So that sort of worked perfectly, and we read it perfectly. Not perfectly, but it was a king. So it was a good idea for me to bet that one maximum, because if he had nothing, he'd be folding anyway to a min bet. So I was only going to gain anyway if he had something. And another one bites the dust. Really nice all-ins from this player. So suddenly I'm second. Oh, it's a really close. I think even 1,000 difference is not a great deal, really. So this player clearly hasn't bothered after taking some chips off me in the very first hand of the tournament. So this is almost like a riderless horse, other than the fact that this player can still theoretically win a prize in a horse without a jockey. Can't, but it's almost like it's just a nuisance, this player, because people are distracted by those chips. So now, for instance, if I raise and these two players fold, I pick up 150 chips, but I don't want to take that risk, because I don't want to get involved with more pots when I don't have a great hand. Very believable, that one. Again, King 9. I've now got, if I was happy to play with 1,500, I'm happy to play with 3,000. Or should I say, I'm not unhappy to play with 1,500. I'm quite a bit more happy to play with 3,000. But I don't want to be betting and raising just for the sake of it. It's interesting that this player lost that pot to me, because suddenly it's a different dynamic now. Suddenly, from being in a position of almost the luxury of having enough chips to bully your opponents, now he's struggling. It makes the same kind of play virtually impossible. So I'm now waiting to see a different kind of reaction from Crocbite. I'm sort of trying to attempt an all-in, and I think I'm going to call this one. Because earlier, a second ago, I was going to say at this point you expect players to get a bit, especially when they've had so many chips, to perhaps get a little bit reckless and just go all in regardless. And now I've got my friend here, well, not my friend, saying call, but that's easy to say with someone else's chips. But I am tempted to call, and if I lose, I'm down to 1,600, and he'll be on 3,000. So I'll be third. It's a difficult one. It seems a little bit passive and wimpy to fold. I'll call. Here we go. Well, that was a fuss about nothing, wasn't it? If only he would have had ace-10. Yes, that was indeed quite funny. So we've sort of remained where we were there, didn't we? You so bad, says Figirl. Fit Girl. Is it Fee or Fit? I can't see. Honolulu, I don't think so. Mexico, really. Earlier on, I would have tried to do something with 5-6 just to mix it up a little, but not at this stage, I don't think. Well, this could be... So Crocbite is still trying to play the same, stealing with min raises. I'm just going to call this one because I don't want him to be going all in when I've only got King 7. So I just bet there straight away, just because it just looks more convincing, and I'm sort of putting the decision to him. If he's got nothing, he's absolutely going to fold anyway. And if he goes all in, then I fold. H2 against queens, so will the small pair beat H2? Yes. So now we're down to 4, and one of those players isn't turning up. So it's a question of what do we do? Do we try and get involved and risk coming fourth after all this time? Or bide our time and hope that somehow those chips just get distributed? Well, it doesn't really matter where. So, you know, see, this is tempting to bet here because it was just a call. I'll bet 100. So I've hit the straight, and I sort of spoilt it by trying to steal it. In some ways, when you got a straight draw, when you bet to steal the pot because you've not yet got a made hand, one, you're risking being check raised by a large amount, and the decision's then put to you, and you're there with your draw. And the other is that if you then make your draw, you're sort of giving the game away by increasing your bet, because I only just put in 100 bet in a 440 pot. So I put a quarter of the pot in, and now suddenly I've hit my hand, and if I put in like half the pot, it might not look right. Looks a bit fishy, but maybe half looks like I'm still with a king or a queen. And my opponent's writing play here, goading me to play, calling me a donk, no less. Which we don't mind. I always find it funny when people get start calling you names. Now asking if I'm retarded, which is slightly a bit more insulting than being called a donk. Fold that one. Often I'm very tempted to play those kind of hands, but maybe when there are 3 players left I might do that, if I'm one of those 3. So does over here have a hand, or are they sort of fighting for this player's big blind? See in a second. If he was fighting and not with a hand, it's a difficult position to be in, because you're out of position against a pre-flop raiser who's got twice as many chips as you. It's difficult to make a stand in any respect there. Okay, I'm going to keep my powder dry. It's how I usually play, or at least in this situation it's how I often play. Yeah, carpet. What about Fit Girl? I don't really know what to think. What was that? An all-in? So we've got a call and an all-in, so obviously I'm folding. I think we can spot the pattern here, unless it's just one good hand after another. She was indeed goading me, that's right. She's a goader. Decent pot now, 600, 900, 1300. Really good play, I think. And Jose is now down to 177. So you sort of have to sort of acquiesce to the chip leader here in a way. It would be silly now to go out when there's a player with only 100 chips. So hopefully this player gets knocked out, as opposed to finds himself in his absence with winning hands by accident and sort of slowing the game down a little bit. It'd be so funny to run into aces or something and call one of these, but then again, even then, you're taking a risk. But can't believe that this player's getting good hands all the time. It's just good play. It's going to be a bet every single opportunity she or he has bet. Slow down there though. Even that is probably, yeah, I was just going to say, I think even that, the way that hand was played, is quite confidently checked even. So this player is now down to the last 69 and they've gone in. So what I'm going to do here is just call anyway. And then I guess myself and over here are going to check out, so we've got maximum chance of knocking out this player. Not that this player's a danger much, but looks like we might win this one. No. So we're down to 3, so we've made at least 20 euros. We've made the money, and as soon as we get down to 3, when it's looser, I get kings and it's folded to me. That's the first time it's been folded. So now I've got 9,000 and we've both got about 3,000. Just call. So we've got a prize again. Always nice to get something. Got sort of straight draw, but I'm just going to bet straight away. Yeah. Let's just have a little bit of fun here with a raise in position. If I get re-raise, I'm going to fold unless it's a small re-raise. I get the impression that this player might just try and bully us both with some big bets at some point. So it'd be nice to either accidentally get a big hand or just be dealt a big hand. But it would be a mistake to, it'd be a mistake to assume that by these players' comments that necessarily makes them sort of loose or bullying, or because it could be part of just, they could be very, very solid for all we know. Okay, so we've got a raise and an all in, so that's an obvious fold from me. And here we go. So we want this player to win this one, but that's not going to happen now. All in with a pair of 2s. So let's change things a little. Nice play from over here. Excuse me. Jack 8 again. I'd be quite happy not to really get Jack 8. Call with 3-5. Hope to hit massive hand. Didn't get one. Right, I've got position. Let's just do a little bit of would-be floating here. Yeah, we got lucky, but then again, he was only playing with a pair of 4s, or she. Win a pot, try and win the next pot. It's a crafty min raise there. So we raised, got re-raised, and we've been hit with a bet on an ace. Okay, we'll fold. So in a way, the fact that I've got half as many chips as to my opponents, obviously, if I double up, I'm still only going to be first, second, not ahead. But one, well, not advantage, but one sort of characteristic of this situation is that if you got 2,500 and your opponent's got, what is it, 6.5 or 6 or something, or 5.5 and 6, 6 and 6, then you can sort of speculate a little bit. You can be a little bit loose because if you've got 2.5 or 2, it doesn't really make a great deal of difference. Right, we've got an all in, and it's gone King 9. That was a bit of a risk. So it looks like we're coming second. One of these players who likes to make fun of his opponents when he wins or she wins. Thank you, Dunk. And what you don't want to be doing in that is trying to sort of get revenge or on someone's behalf or whatever. So I'm going to wait till over here is just lost, I assume, what chips he has left, and then we'll be guaranteed second. And it doesn't look good, 2,000 against whatever that will be, but 19 players, you'll be happy with second when you start, so you've got to be happy in this situation anyway. So it doesn't mean that we're going to relax and play with anything, but you've got to take some risk at some point. Very cleverly not betting the remaining chips here, because I could still go all in with something. I could have aces, go all in and still lose, and that player will come second with 35 chips, 36 chips. But now there's no choice because it's blind, and okay, I bet that's just any two cards, well, an ace, whatever. So we're heads up, 12.5 against 2.25. So it could be, it might just go all in with everything each time, and that would really punish me. But let's see. Gut shot straight draw, which I won't. A sigh of relief if I could sigh there. Now we'd like an all-in straight away. I think if I raise now, he's just gonna. I'm gonna raise anyway. In fact, I'll go all in. Don't want to give him a chance to speculate. If he folds, he folds. That's just how it is. It's all chips picked up. I think I'm gonna just call and play it slowly because it's just I don't have enough chips to. I need to maximise my chances when they come. Maximise as in to get as many chips as I can, not just winning the pot. So I've got a flush draw. I'll put 300 in for a flush draw. Now I've got a gut shot straight draw and a flush draw. Didn't make it, but I'm going to bet half the pot here if he checks. If I'm down to 1800, then so be it, and I am. Queen or king? It's an 8, that's a nice call. Maybe I'm going to get called a donk now after that. But it's just one of these situations where you have to take some kind of risk, whether that's trying to bluff just to get a decent sized pot to make your stack a little bit more workable. Yes, speech play is part of Fit Girls game, but it's all meaningless to me. Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit now. I need to double up. And then double up again. Jack 10, not a bad hand. Well, we're not going to find out. I'm just going to call. I was going to bet if he checked, but no. So let's just play one hand at a time now. So I'm guessing at the moment that every now and then he's going to go all in with a decent hand. I'm going to keep calling even though I'm probably bleeding chips each time I do that. Another 75 wasted, you could say, but I want to try and see some flops. I don't want to be just going all in or folding yet. Actually, I probably do now, actually. Let's try and... Yes, I thought we might do that. King 9 has been hit lines up. Well, I need to get King 9 then. In tournaments today, says Carpet. Queen 8. All these hands are suddenly looking like live cards. What's that? 100, 200 blinds. So I'm going to be down to 900 and whatever after this one. Next time, I'm going to fold this and wait 4 minutes to just lose the next one. Yes, I am. So we're going to come back and the blinds are going to be... What was that? Was that level 10? The blinds are going to be... 125, 250 with an ante of 25. So basically, every 2 hands is going to cost me 425. And I've only got 929. So the next... I don't know who was a big blind then, but basically it's all in next time. I didn't want to do that with 10-6. Although I could well get a hand no better than 10-6. So any 2 cards, I guess next time I'm going to be going all in. So, and she is saying, really, I didn't understand, which is a fair enough question, I guess. But what was it? I didn't have to go all in, I guess. And for the sake of 100, I'd rather just lose 100 chips and see what the next 2 cards would be than go all in with 10-6, which really doesn't make any difference because if I double up, I'm going to be 1800 or 2000, and I'm going to need to double up again and again. But I just didn't want to go out with 10-6 really. So we have 3 minutes. And I was almost tempted to play a game of blitz chess there, but knowing me, I'd probably end up doing something funny and losing and not having time to come back to this one. But now's a good time to tell you about what this tournament is. WiseGuys. It's basically there are 3 WiseGuys Freerolls. There's one every month, which is for multi-table tournaments where the top 32 people make a profit, which is any profit, and generate 500 redbacks, loyalty points, just from multi-table tournaments alone. Qualify for the monthly WiseGuys Freeroll, which is I think 250, 125 and 75 prize money. It's quite a good prize money, so it's free. And there is every Monday at 9 PM UK time, sit and go free roll, WiseGuys Freeroll, which I keep qualifying for because it's a lot easier to make any profit, and it's a lot easier to generate 500 redbacks basically during the course of a week than it is for this tournament, which is the cash WiseGuys Freeroll, which is every night 9 PM UK time. And for that, again, you need 500 redbacks just from cash. Each of the redbacks is for the category that you're looking to qualify for. And basically, you just click on the leaderboard, see where you are. If you're making a profit, look at the other players, see how they're doing. And for me, I might have been, I think for a while yesterday, I was on to like 350 redbacks or something, and you need 500. So at about 11 o'clock last night or something, I played a bit of cash because I was up a little bit. And the idea is you just try and get 500 redbacks and a profit, which is what I did. And if you can, I usually play one table. One of the reasons being that I'm now recording when I play, and I like to talk about what I'm doing. So I prefer to do that, especially for those players who are just new to poker or watching these videos to, with a view to learning from other people's mistakes. That's me. Then I think one table lends itself more to being able to talk about how you're thinking Whether I'm thinking right is irrelevant. Just I think it's just more interesting to be able to listen to someone who's concentrating on one particular game. So for me, it might take me a while to generate 500 redbacks, but if you play 2, 3, 4 tables and you're quite comfortable with that, then it's not difficult at all really to make the 500 redbacks. And if you're solid enough, then just typical ABC poker really should make you a profit if you put in enough time. And as we can see, that's quite a few players in these tournaments don't even bother turning up. Queens, well, that's better than 10-6. So if I lose this one, at least I've waited for a better hand, and maybe I'll lose anyway. And there we go. So it was. You could argue it wasn't worth the wait. I lost that one anyway. That's how it goes. But what I can do now, I can quickly put on the Route 29. This is part of the Route 32 flip to Manchester, which is basically if you make 29, you make enough raked hands, you put in this free roll, which is a flip. Everybody's all in, so I've got a straight draw. So I need a 5, a 10, but if someone's got a 9, they'll beat me. So I've lost to this player here. Pity, because I made my straight. So I'm finishing 17th, and the top 8 make chips, win chips. That's it. That's the tournament. That's finished. So if I'll bring the tournament table on for you. And this is the Route. It's one of the promotions. It's a June promotion. Route 32 flip to Manchester. And what it is there have been 29 tournaments. There'll be another 2, I think. And then the top 8 players win these prizes here. So they're starting chips for the tournament proper. So there's an actual proper no limit hold'em tournament. I think it's the 2nd of July, for which the first prize is a €1,500. There we go. Accumulate starting chips. I could have just read that in the first place. Accumulate starting chips for Route 32 final Friday, 2nd of July, where we'll be giving away over €3,000 in guaranteed prizes, including a €1,500 MPNBT Micro Gaming Poker Network Poker Tour package for the Manchester leg, which is the 20th to 23rd of July. And all you needed to do to enter that tournament was to have made 29 raked hands in the previous 24 hours, which is easy. So I managed to come 17th. So if my hand would have held up, for instance, then I'd have got some chips. I think at the moment I've got 1,100. But it's 1,000 just for first and 100 for 8th. And if you make 100, you qualify for the final anyway. So basically, if you've been playing cash this last month and you've not been entering these, then you've missed out a bit. But you should still enter anyway, the last 2. I think there are 2 more. And you could possibly, within 2 tournaments, make 1,000, 1,500 chips. Even a few hundred could be enough to give yourself a fighting chance. So that was that. It's a flip tournament. All in every hand until the winners emerge, as they did there. So it's not quite finished, but it has now in a second. So those 8 players there are all guaranteed to make chips. And that was that. And perfect timing. I'm just about to see myself lose with queens after that wait. Carpet says it was good that I made her wait 5 minutes. Yeah, maybe it annoyed her. Not that we're out to annoy people, but clearly she or he was out to annoy his opponent, or at least, even if it was just banter, it was interesting. So I'm going to leave this on now. Yes, I'm going to leave that on just so that I can have another look at with my straight draw. So a 5 would have. Oh no, somebody had 10-9 anyway, so I was never going to win that one. This player, well, I'm now looking at my own monitor. One of the players flopped a straight anyway, so even though I was beaten by a bigger straight, I was never winning that one anyway. So that was a bit of a false alarm, an excitement, a false dawn that that had me all excited, and I wasn't going to win anyway. So there you go. So I hope that's been interesting. As I often say, that tournament, well, I should be saying this, that tournament panned out exactly as you would expect it to, typically at least, in that you choose your spots, you can raise a little bit every now and then, you can try and steal every now and then. You've got to be a little bit circumspect sometimes, and sometimes discretion is a better part of valour, and you don't call all-ins when you have something like Queen Jack or a pair of nines or something. You can do, as the winner did there, calling with twos and different hands like that, because if you get lucky, then you accumulate a lot of chips. And I'm certainly not saying that player was lucky, because I think that he or she played excellently. But for me, I try and sort of bide my time and sort of, it's a bit like using a horse race analogy, which probably isn't the best one, but you're sort of weaving your way through the field and giving yourself a chance. And that's, I think, is a good way to play this kind of tournament, whether it's 19, 20 players, or even 7 or 8 players. A small tournament like that, all you need to do is just basically, to give yourself a good chance, is to have enough chips to make a difference, really, essentially. And when opportunities present themselves, which they should do, maybe not every tournament, but over time they will, then you have a good chance of that strategy putting you in a strong position when there are fewer and fewer players, especially when there are only 3 prizes, for instance. If there are more prizes, if it's 100 players and say 20 prizes, then it's different. You can play differently, but with only 3 prizes, then you can take a risk. But all you're going to be doing, if you think that you have a good chance of getting third, at least third, by playing aggressively but solidly, then you're only benefiting by 1 or 2 places max anyway by taking chances. So there are different ways to approach these tournaments, and I'll stick with this one for a while, and then maybe I'll sort of jazz it up a bit, or even quieten down and play differently next time. But until then, I hope that was interesting, and we managed to get in the money again, which is what we want to do. And I might take, well, I'm going away for a few days, but I'll be back on Monday. And otherwise, if you're watching this video at any point, that's irrelevant, but basically just keep watching, keep tuning in, and I'll keep playing, and I'll be playing chess as well at chess24.com, as well as poker at 32 Red. So it's goodbye for now from me, and good luck, and have fun, mainly.